Well, that music means it's time for another episode of Just Can't Not, and we're here with a preview, a zero episode for one of our new shows on the Lunchador Podcast Network called Reader's Advisory. Matt, how you doing today?
Good. How are you, Chris?
Oh, I am exhausted. This time shift has ruined my entire life. I don't know about you.
For some reason, it feels worse than it ever has before, and I don't know if that's just the time change plus impending doom has really kind of.
Yeah, this is the 0 hour clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just 1 hour.
Yeah, it's just an hour closer now. But that's a good way to start it. Really upbeat for our guests.
Yeah,
That's
I'm feeling
awesome.
really good about it.
Yeah.
So we're
Sorry
here
about
with
the diner yet. Now.
we're here with a whole bunch of guests. I don't know, everybody. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
My name is Jim Byrne. I think the impending doom thing was like the perfect vibe for us to come
Absolutely.
in. So that's what we're all about.
You should be afraid.
So we've got a team of librarians here. I'm one of them. This is very exciting for us. We want to get going with this Rochester's Book Club idea. That's the podcast, the theme here. So I'll pass it along to my buddies here.
Alrighty, hi everyone. My name is Rachel. I'm a librarian also in the Rochester area, and I'm really excited to share with you about my favorite books.
I'm Robin. I'm also a librarian.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it? And I agree. The time change has been truly awful this time. I don't know why.
I am a second Rachel. You just get to guess which of us is talking, I guess, at any point. I also am very excited to talk about books. It's almost impossible to make me stop, actually.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why a podcast exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we're very excited to hear your opinions on books. So we've been hoping that we could have a book club podcast on Lunchador for a while, and we were thrilled when you guys reached out, because I can't wait to hear like professionals talking about books. It seems wild, but like, what made you decide that you wanted to do the book club? What was the genesis of the idea?
Yeah, I was attending a film at the Anomaly Film Festival at the Little Theater, and I was watching the film, and it was Dust Bunny actually, and this kind of like bolt hit me in the head while I was watching the movie, which I have kind of ADHD brain, and I was completely distracted. I was like, oh, why don't we do a podcast, like a book club podcast? Because I used to work at the Pittsford Library with Robin and Rachel B down there, and I missed working with them, and I thought we got to get the gang back together and do this, and I think it would be a lot of fun. It would just be fun to, selfishly to hang out with them again and work together again. And I said, shot him a text that night, like immediately after the movie, and kind of that's how we got where we are right now.
Right on.
The other Rachel was looped in because at my birthday party, she sat on my porch with Jim and narrated to him for about an hour, and he went, "I like her vibe."
Yeah, Rachel S.
She has the gift for gab.
Yeah, my immediate thought
say.
at this party was like, who is this woman? She's fantastic. She's a future star. So I was very excited to make her our the fourth here.
I've just said a podcast has been inevitable in my life. I've been told for years. Y'all are about to hear me yap, and it's going to be the most annoying woman I'll ever. I'm so sorry. I think I'm about to inflict upon the Rochester area. Like, it's actually atrocious. So I'm just going to apologize in advance for what I'm about to do.
What diner were we at where we had like kind of game planning meeting?
Yeah, that was South Wedge
The
Diner.
South Wedge
Yeah.
Diner, right? And I remember listening to them talk, and I just like kind of sat back with my arms behind my head, and I was like,
He was like, I have wrought something great
this
upon
is
us.
great. I'm so excited just to like unleash this.
I can't wait to be doing my dishes and listening to this.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
Oh man, I am so thrilled.
It's going to be fantastic,
It's
Rachel.
so fun. It's great. It's great.
I love that the passion for podcasting isn't just isolated to the bearded white guy in the
Yeah.
group.
Oh my
that's-
God, no.
Like, and I love that it's like, oh no, this is what I was born to
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
She was born for this.
I've just
You're
known
one-
it's coming.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a podcast, it was a memoir, and no one should hear a memoir from a 26-year-old.
Yeah,
That's
they don't have enough
humiliating.
life experiences.
I
yet.
know.
Yeah,
And
you'd have to
yeah.
wait a while and just think of all the things you could say.
God.
It also
Before
leaves you
then.
with so many more opportunities for a second memoir and a third
Mhm.
memoir.
That is so true.
I always appreciate anybody that has volumes of memoirs. That's a great-
It's like, oh, your life is
A
really
serial
that interesting.
memoirist.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You had to be a specific kind of person to have like 4 memoirs throughout the
Mhm.
course of
Yeah.
like every 5 years old.
Mhm.
My life happens so much, I have to do another one.
Mhm.
The thing I've always wondered is when do you decide you've done enough that you have to get them leather bound and in like a case?
Ooh,
You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
what's the precipice? Is it 2, 3?
that sounds
like,
nice.
I think it's 3.
3 sounds
it?
right.
Yeah.
3 sounds
Yeah.
right.
I think like with any vanity project, it's would it look really good on my bookshelf? And could I drop
Mm.
this in front of people? And be
Right.
like, oops.
Yeah.
I mean, think of how many people had the Lord of the Rings boxes because, like, oh, I like the movie, but man, they look great on the shelf.
Mhm.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's true. Barnes and Noble has really kind of gone to town on the let's make these look really nice and cool. Like
Yeah.
the Hitchhiker's Guide for the Galaxy that increasingly looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
a
Yeah.
a
The
Bible
leather
from
bound
the
one.
1500s.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we
Oh.
leather bound? Hitchhiker's Guide to the That's meant
Yeah.
to be a paperback. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
It
say
is.
I have the paperback trilogy on my shelf over there, and for a long time that was an every year read for me.
Mhm.
Was that, and it's just one of those things where you laugh out loud. But I think that's also why I'm excited to learn about all of your taste in books. Is I've had a specific lane that I've read in a long time, but I'm kind of intrigued to start to learn about everybody's tastes over the course of the podcast. I guess let's go through. What would you define your lane, if you have one, when it comes to books?
Ooh.
This looked like the scariest question for Rachel. I just saw your eyes.
Oh,
She's
no.
got
Oh, no.
she's got
Yeah.
several
She's got
lanes.
so
Let
many
Rachel be lead.
She's
go
got
ahead.
the weirdest taste, I would say. of all
I,
of us.
I'm
Hello.
excited.
I
Yeah.
just
Tell 'em what you
I
do.
just saw you going, how do I narrow this down?
She won't.
So truly, I read a lot and I read weird stuff. When I worked with Jim, people would pull books out of the hold bins and be like, this looks like it's absolute weirdness incarnate. Rachel, is this for you? And I would be like, yeah, it is. Thank you.
Wait, Rachel, tell them about
What's-
the iceberg book.
Yeah.
Which iceberg book?
The one, you know which one.
I
the
love
one at
that
the
so
Blade-
much.
yeah.
which iceberg
You should also ask her the name of her pet bunny.
Yes, that too.
I didn't know this was a roast, Rachel.
I'm sorry to have opened the door, Rachel.
So why are you humiliating me like this in the first episode? So the iceberg book that Rachel Scott is referring to is it's called Underworlds by Robert McFarlane. It is a piece of nonfiction nature writing, and it's not an iceberg, it's a glacier.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah,
And
come on,
he
go for
has
it.
the most erotic description of a glacier that you have ever read in your life.
Yeah.
And I come into the book club that I was in with Rachel, and everyone else is reading romantasy. Like to a person, everyone else is reading YA romantasy. And I come in and I'm like, here's my nonfiction nature writing book about a glacier. I will read you this sexy passage about a glacier. And then everyone was
hot.
like, it was kind of sexy. Thank you.
It's bizarre.
Well, your statement that it was the most sexy thing you've ever read about a glacier
Yeah.
could be like a 2 on the scale.
No, it was kind of sexy.
Yeah.
You were like, I think this man does want to bone down with this glacier, which sounds very uncomfortable to me. But he was talking about it wasn't voluptuous curves of like the ice, but it was something
it
along those
wasn't
lines.
not.
It wasn't
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read a lot of nonfiction. I read a lot of literary fiction. Right now I'm reading Sour Cherry, which is a retelling of the Bluebeard tale. I'm not sure I like it yet. We'll find out. But like the way that I got into like Wuthering Heights, which is obviously very big and buzzy right now, is I read a book of literary criticism going over the woman writer in the 19th century literary imagination called Mad Woman in the Attic. And that is how I introduced myself to a lot of works of literature. Is I just picked up a piece of literary criticism and was like, let me learn more about that.
And for the record, this book is like 700 pages long and very dense. This is her light reading. This is
Yeah.
this is just
That's for fun.
Yeah.
Also, spoiler alert: our first episode is going to be the discussion of Wuthering Heights by Bronte. So
Well, it's also a fine time to be doing
Yeah.
that. Movie that has so much discourse around it,
Mhm.
but going back to the text, because that's also part of the challenge with
Mhm.
interpreting classic works in the modern context, and what do you do with it? But especially people that are passionate or this is their lane, you don't want to ruin their interpretation, but you also don't want to necessarily do a pure text-to-text version of it,
Mhm.
which
Now,
is kind of interesting.
I have read accusations that she did not read the book before she made the movie. So
That's not true.
Oh.
Emerald Fennell did read the book. She did read it when she was 14. And to quote Emerald Fennell, not quote exactly, but she kind of said it's what her 14-year-old self thought she was reading.
Okay.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
just
that
go, if you were
tracks.
going to go see the movie, watch with that kind of a lens of like, this is what a 14-year-old thinks is happening. And it makes a lot of sense.
And also, to be fair, like, you know, a lot of her movies have been like misinterpreted
Mhm.
Oh,
and
yeah.
freaky movies. Like Promising Young Woman, I loved that movie. And they're like, oh, people interpreted this way. I'm like, I don't understand how you saw that.
Mhm.
Like, it is just, it's such a you know, interesting movie. And I like that she has perspective when it comes to those things. But yeah, this is kind of the fun of, I mean, we're talking about a book that is being interpreted.
Mhm.
Is, you know, we'll get into that when we get to the episode, but so you mentioned your lanes.
Mhm.
When you're, it's, I saw the difficulty in describing that. Do you like getting people into different things?
Oh, I love it. And so I also read, I'm specifically a children's librarian. So I also do read a lot of middle grade and children's novels. But I love reading. When I was trying to get back into reading after graduating from my undergraduate program, I just started reading really, really widely, trying to figure out what I actually enjoyed. And a lot of people have trouble getting back into reading after they've had a hiatus for any reason. And my first recommendation is always forget what you used to read. Just pick up things that sound any kind of interesting and drop them just as quickly if you're not having fun. So I love reading lots of weird stuff. It's just a little bit hard to like hone in. Like I read a lot of nature nonfiction. Read a lot of literary analysis. I read a lot of science nonfiction. I read a lot of books that are just like mostly described as weird shit. Like I love something that surprises me. So I will always recommend those things to people, but I will also recommend if you like genre stuff, I also like genre stuff. If you like thrillers, thrillers are a lot of fun. If you like, you were talking about sci-fi earlier in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. One of the things that has stuck with me since I was a child was the Not My Problem field in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think about that every single time I walk past something going, not my problem. That is not my problem. I'm like, the field is working.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, I don't think there's any, it's never bad to read.
Wow, that's an ending.
Hard agree.
Yeah.
Hard agree. That is I feel the librarian's motto,
Yeah.
right? If you're reading, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a cheesy rom-com or if it's Wuthering Heights or literary analysis. If you're reading, that's positive.
Yeah.
You're enriching your mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It doesn't have
Or
to be
escaping.
something that I personally find interesting, because there's a lot of books that I don't find interesting, but I'm very aware that a lot of the books I do find interesting, other people think are boring as all hell.
My favorite pastime, I used to collect or purchase nonfiction for the library. And whenever I'd see some really, you know, niche topic, like there's a book about lichen or something, I will text her the cover, Rachel B, and be like, I found the book just for you. And the enthusiasm, like it's always there.
Yeah.
I love that about you.
I love lichen.
Of course you do.
They're the first life form that can turn stone into soil. They're like integral to the functioning of the world.
See what I love about this is
That's
that you
nice.
genuinely love lichen.
I
You weren't just
genuinely
saying
love
that.
lichen. No, I think they're really interesting.
I know, I'm texting her. I'm like, this is hilarious. And she's like, oh, I'm going to get that.
She's like, that's on my TBR.
Sometimes he would be weeding and it would be a book that I'm like, oh yeah, I read this and I didn't think it was good or interesting, so nobody else will. That's a good one to get rid of.
Yeah, so when you're weeding in the library, you know, if something hasn't been checked out in 2-3 years, something like that, depends on the library, it gets weeded and it goes goodbye. But Rachel, you know, would also often give a stay of execution to a lot of these books. If it's like it's about to get, you know, the axe, and Rachel's like, actually, let me
I'm gonna check that
out.
I have a lot of his discards in my house.
Yeah,
They're on my bookshelf.
Rachel's foster home for books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've read a lot of them. If I don't like them, I put them into little free libraries. They don't stay if they don't pass the test.
That's fair. That's a
awesome.
good way to
Yeah.
seed libraries too.
Oh, so your
Okay,
lane.
my turn. My lane, I like literary fiction. I'm so boring. I like literary fiction. I like light, fluffy stuff. I have recently gotten very into audiobooks. I have the kind of brain that can't focus on reading for terribly long. So I read our book that we're talking about, Wuthering Heights, in high school and hated it. And I told Rachel Scott this, and she was not very happy about it.
Deeply offended.
Yeah, deeply offended. That's a good
Yeah.
way to put it.
War crime.
And then I started listening to the audiobook, and I was like, oh, this is some good shit.
It eats.
Yes. It does. It does. So yeah, I like literary fiction, the stuff that's like kind of popular,
Mhm.
some nonfiction, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
sort of a regular reader. Not
Yeah.
not out of the ordinary like Rachel.
Yep.
I
But
think
all
that's
bizarre.
that's also a great lane to be in, though.
Yeah.
Like, and it's also knowing who you are
Mhm.
and like, hey, this is what I like.
Yep. And it actually, I mean, for my job, it makes recommending reader's advisory, which is a huge piece of our work. It makes it much easier because then I can be like, yeah, you know what? I read James, which is a takeoff of Huck Finn. I read that, loved it. A million other people in Rochester read it and loved it, and I can talk to them about it, and I can recommend it to people who haven't read it. So you know, reading the normie stuff can be helpful sometimes. So that's me.
Well, I'm like a genre fiction person. I love a fantasy book. I love a dragon. Let me show a dragon. I love a dragon. I'm like anything with fantasy just because I grew up really, really loving like Lord of the Rings, being read The Hobbit as a child by my dad, of course. So anything kind of like that, I really enjoy. Science fiction, romance, of course. And I tend to read a lot of YA or middle grade fiction just because that's the age group that I work with the most. So I want to kind of keep up to date with that so I can keep recommending my students books that they'll enjoy and that they'll love. But I love a good like a classic once in a while. Like I spice it up with a little classic. So Emily Bronte was my classic, and I read it in one day when I was 22, and that was my first time ever reading it. I grew up loving Jane Eyre by her sister Charlotte Bronte. I was obsessed, and I've been feral about it ever since, like groaning and moaning and tossing myself on the floor, clawing at the floorboards. I'm really, really like just so like when I'm obsessed and really into a book, like I'm so freaking awful about it. Everyone has to know, and it's everyone's problem, not just mine. So definitely Wuthering Heights has been one for me for that. But I love a good like I'm noticing it's awful. I feel like my prefrontal cortex is like developing, and I'm like developing taste because
sorry.
sometimes lately I've been picking up a book and I've been like, this isn't good. And I had to put it down because the writing's not
Doesn't it
good.
suck when that happens?
It's awful. And I'm like becoming horrified with myself. I'm like, wait, is this what happens when you become an adult? Like you don't like YA anymore? So
Yeah.
I'm going through like well, thanks, Rachel. I'm going through a bit of state of crisis right now with that, like of identity of like, do I like YA? I think I do, but I think I just need to read better books this year. That's been a goal of mine. So I'm on a Shakespeare kick. He's been really rocking my world with Othello.
I've heard he's good.
Mm.
Yeah, no, he's pretty solid. Honestly, he's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I'm kind of intrigued because you mentioned your dad reading to you. Would you say he was a book dad or a nerd dad or both?
Oh, he's both. He fully spoke Elvish. That man is a
Oh, that's
nerd through and
awesome.
through. Grew up on
Yeah.
Star Wars type shit. Like he's awesome in that way. Like really, really introduced a lot of seminal texts is what we're gonna call him. Like really like huge literary things for me. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was something he read to me. The Hobbit, A Wrinkle in Time, just like a love. And then Calvin and Hobbes, of course, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I had a really, really cool parents who really put a lot of value in literature as a child, which is how I ended up in the job I have today. Is a lot of thanks to them. So very cool.
Yeah, dad with a lane is always an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. So, like any millennial, I grew up on, the Scholastic book fairs and things of that nature. So, R.L. Stein's Goosebumps were like a formative part of my childhood. I remember going to the mall, Walden Books or B. Dalton, wherever the store was. Like the day those were released, I would be there to like get the newest one.
Shout out to Book It. Shout out to Personal Pan Pizzas.
Heck
Oh,
yeah.
Those were the days, right? But that, of course, leads to like Stephen King, things of that nature. Calvin and Hobbes as well was huge. I can remember being on vacation. We were at some house and they had a bookshelf, and I just plucked the first Calvin and Hobbes off the wall there, and it just like blew my hair back. I was like blown away by the storytelling in there. Obviously the vocabulary words that you have to go to the dictionary to look up. Those are big experiences for me growing up. But today that's led to similar to Robin. I'll pick up anything. That's the great thing about being at the library is that you don't have to go looking for the book. They kind of come to you. I started at circulation, so it's all the returns are coming. You're like, oh, this looks interesting. But I kind of lean towards literary fiction, speculative fiction. I like dystopian type stuff.
Yeah.
I love an atmospheric kind of moody.
Mm.
I like, like Cormac McCarthy describes like scrub grass in a way. And like, that's very boring to people, but I love the way he just paints a picture of the scenery and then character driven. I'm there for the characters. And I love a shitty ending to a book where it's like very ambiguous and it's not all tied up. I like when you go on whatever Goodreads or whatever, and there's 1-star reviews, and you're like, why do these people hate this book so much? Like, I know I'm gonna love it because that person hated it, and I get into that. Like, all right, that idiot
so
hates
real.
that book. I'm all about it. Right
That's
now.
so real.
Absolutely.
So that's me. I'll read mostly anything. A little nonfiction. I like biographies about bands and musicians. I'll read some sports stuff like that. Standard white guy with a beard stuff, I guess.
As another white guy with a beard, have you read Paul Stanley's autobiography?
I have not.
I'm going to name drop real quick. Craig Finn from the Hold Steady.
Yeah.
I was talking to him at one point. He's
Oh.
like, I'm a huge Kiss fan. I'm like, I hate Kiss. I cannot stand them. He's like, read Paul Stanley's book. And it is the most bonkers thing. So if you get a chance, it is a weird book because it's kind of like he is the most unreliable narrator on the face of the
Mhm.
planet.
Mhm.
So everything is really self-aggrandizing and really kind of breaking down like Gene and the rest of the band. And it is hysterical.
All right,
Like, it is such a bizarre, like,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
That's the best thing about books. Like,
yeah.
you don't have to like whatever the subject is, but I think as librarians and people who like books, you're interested in humanity in the world, right? So like, I want to know about this, even though it's not my thing. I think that's what I love about it.
One, it's got to be such a challenge sometimes. So people ask opinions. I'm sure you're doing the technical work of doing library work, like filtering books and doing all that stuff. But when you're on the recommendation side or at the front end, they'll ask for a lane. You have to know a lot about a lot of different things,
Mhm.
Yep.
which can be a challenge, but also kind of a delight. Have you ever run across something that somebody recommended? You're like, I'm not sure about that. And then you checked it out and you're like, you know what? I kind of like that you like that. Or I found a new lane or I found a new thing I liked.
Yeah. We have at my library, there is a page there's actually a couple of people on staff who just recommend the weirdest stuff. And it's fantastic. It's Roberta and Christy they are just phenomenal recommenders. And the thing that I read a few years ago that I got from one of them is Agatha of Little Neon, which is about a nun from Buffalo who moves up to Rhode Island. And it's just her story of being a nun, being in the Catholic Church, dealing with the people that she deals with. And it's not something I normally would have picked up myself. And I was like, this is kind of a strange sort of concept. But just the character work, like Jim was talking about, character work is so important in a lot of these like literary fiction pieces. And that was one where I was like, this is a weird book, but I love it. And I love that you recommended it to me. I never would have picked it up myself.
Yeah. I mean, the whole segment on how she couldn't find Buffalo style pizza in
Yeah.
the area is just confusing if you didn't grow up there.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
absolutely. Absolutely. She was like, where are the buffalo wings? What am I doing?
couldn't find any weird sweet pizza sauce anywhere in Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's very confusing. No, and I love that too, because it's having that option of somebody else telling you something,
Mhm.
and you know what, I'm just gonna go with it.
Mhm.
It has to be kind of a delight to run across those things, with all the people you run across during the day.
The flip side of it is it can be challenging, right? People come up to you and expect you to kind of know every book in the library. They're
They
like,
always think that.
They always
they
think
do.
that, like, I
Yeah.
want to read about this, and you're like, yeah, give me a minute to
I always
type on my
feel-
machine here.
I always feel a little bit like they're looking down on me when
Oh,
I'm
no doubt.
searching
No
for
doubt.
something. They're like,
And
you,
you
don't
can't
just have a
spell it.
recommendation.
The worst is when you can't spell the word.
Yeah.
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 You're like, let me spell orangutan. I'm like, bro. I don't know. No, my students always think that I've read every book in the library. It's probably one of the number one questions. They're like, have you read every book here? There's over like 14,000 books in my library. I'm really impressed that they think that. I'm like, oh my
I mean, you
God,
took-
I'm
They think
so
you're
smart.
You took Wuthering Heights down in a day.
Yeah,
That's
but
pretty
still,
impressive.
14,000 books is
No, it's a lot. You're right.
that's a lot for a lifetime, let alone.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But it's really cool how people just kind of expect like a lot of knowledge at a library. It's like it's very interesting that like we're just seen as these like people who know things, and it's
Right.
like really we just know
Yeah.
how to find things for
Yeah.
you.
And then you do start to like, when you've had enough of the same question, you
Yeah.
have some stock answers. So, like, if I get kids coming in who are like, I want a book about a dog and the dog has to be the narrator, I'm like, Ranger in Time. Have you read Ranger in Time? And they're like, no, tell me about it. I'm like, it's a rescue golden retriever that travels through time going to different.
I just got that book for family the other
yeah,
day.
no, it's, they love it. They love it. And
Great.
I have never read Ranger in Time.
But boy,
I
do we know about
probably
it.
never will.
I was gonna say,
But-
should that be one of our book club picks?
I mean,
Ranger in
it sounds
Time.
pretty awesome.
Sounds like
We-
really
It's a
cool.
time traveling golden retriever. What's not to love?
Yeah.
Literally.
Just
Robin,
going-
remember when the children's ordered a bunch of them and they like came in and there was one like I think it's like Rangers at like the Twin Towers.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Highland.
Oh
No. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Rangers
Ranger 2,
everywhere.
9/11?
I was like,
Ranger-
this is. I felt too soon, Ranger. Like,
a lot of these kids were born.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know, I know.
That's a historical
I know
event to
I'm old.
them.
Yeah.
It's like the Buddies movies or like Air Bud, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
breaking the rules of basketball, one thing, but like all of the wacky adventures that whole lineage has gone
Oh,
on
yeah.
is hard to fathom.
What
I
else
really
can a
like the
golden retriever
lineage
do?
phrase for Airbud. I think that's really, really relevant. Lineage of
Yeah.
Airbud. Yeah.
Yeah.
The generations.
Yes.
Yeah, it's we can't
Dynasty.
we can believe the first part, but yeah, it gets a little bit of a stretch.
Are
after
there
the first few.
novelizations of Airbud? Do we
There's
know?
gotta be.
Probably.
Almost definitely.
What didn't we want to do a novelization of?
Of an Austin Powers.
Oh,
yeah.
that's what it is of Austin
Oh, is
Powers
it?
because it's the scene where he's
Yeah.
like doing the
But-
3-point turn.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that in text.
It's,
and, like-
it's so funny. I've literally just seen like the one paragraph where he goes, groovy, he didn't say because it wasn't groovy. Like,
Well, speaking of not groovy, we're going to go take our commercial break and put some ads in there, and we'll be right back. Nice. Starting back up. 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, we're done having fun. It's time for business podcasting now.
Darn.
So, we were talking about personal taste before, but what I'm kind of intrigued about, so when we're thinking about doing a podcast and choosing books, I love the book we chose for this first one, but let's talk about why we chose Wuthering Heights for the first book that's going to be on Reader's Advisory coming up. I'm really excited about that.
I think I texted about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it was simple because you're in the library and this
It was my idea.
Oh, and you know what? And you know
A
what,
man
Jim?
claiming women's
know what, Jim?
ideas.
my bad.
That is really rude.
Yeah.
That is really rude that you did
I
that.
think
so
this
rude,
is-
Jim.
I
Actually, it
can't
was my
believe you did
idea.
that to her.
It was literally my
Yeah.
idea.
Wow.
So it was Jim's idea to do the pod. Like, sure, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It was my idea to talk about Wuthering Heights. 'cause
And that
I'm
is because
so not normal.
it's your favorite book.
It's because it's one of my favorite books, probably top 5. Yeah, I mean, The Hobbit is my fave forever, but Wuthering Heights, stop. She's that girl to me. And I also knew that because the movie was coming out, there was going to be a lot of conversation, obviously, about the book. I've been annoying about it since 2022, and I was like, we simply must. Can we do it first, please, guys?
Yeah, if you're in the library, the hold list for the book.
It's a
I mean,
hot
how old's the
commodity
book?
right now.
It's not quite 200 years, but it's getting close to it. And for a book to have a hold list at that age, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
copies in the system too, so
Mhm.
it's not, there's
It is
just a
not
handful.
available.
It is
And
not
the
available.
wait list on Libby, which is the ebook platform that the system has, it's like months, like 6 months before you can get an ebook copy.
Yeah, it's published 1847, so it's a
I will
pretty
say,
long time ago.
If you have, this is just because, I'm a public librarian. If you have Hoopla through your library, you can get the audiobook or the ebook.
Yes. And if you are a New York State resident, you can apply for a library card at the New York Public Library, the Queens Public Library, and the Brooklyn Public Library with Libby. And just go to your local public library and ask any of them, and we'll show you how to sign up.
And I apologize. We probably get inside baseball with the library terms.
Mhm, yeah.
Hold list is basically if all the copies are checked out, you're now on the list.
Yep.
So when
You're
one
gonna
comes
get
back,
one.
if you're one,
We'll, like,
you're-
hold
it
a
comes-
copy for
We'll
you.
hold a
Mhm.
copy for
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
So sorry about the
And
yeah,
the county system does that together.
the MCLS.
We all hold hands and
It's a-
pass books around.
It's a beautiful thing. Hamlin, they're sending books from the
Yeah.
Ogden's Farmer Library. Is that what
Yep.
it's called?
Ogden Farmers Library.
that's
Yeah.
right.
And then if you don't want to wait for it at all and you don't mind reading it online, Project Gutenberg has books that are out of copyright, which Wuthering
Mhm.
Heights is.
Mhm.
So you can read it online for free. I just needed to
Yes.
drop that in there. I'm so sorry.
Well, it is a
No,
tremendous
please, thank you.
resource as well, too.
And this is a good example of all of us being obsessed with public libraries.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Wuthering Heights, I mean, I guess it wasn't my idea, but
Yeah. I get that, Jim.
I guess.
Walk it back.
it is walked back. But
Uh-huh.
it's the perfect time when we got to jump on something like this when it's out there
Yeah.
like that.
And not even just like the hype train of it all with the new movie coming out, but also like, guys, it's March and it's disgusting outside. Like,
Mhm.
I'm a firm believer in like books can be seasonal, and I really enjoy a book when it's like the right season too. Like reading a Bronte novel in like March or November when it's like wet and disgusting
Yes.
and like kind of snowy but muddy and gross and foggy. Like that's the time. Like you should not be reading Bronte in June. I'm sorry. That's
No.
not appropriate. It's inappropriate to do that. Don't do that. But in March, stop.
Absolutely.
It's perfect.
Walk around
Yes.
Men in Ponds right now, and it is the Moors.
It is the
Yes.
worst.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you define the Bronte vibe in a short paragraph?
Oh, yes. Okay. Like gothic and atmospheric, animalistic and feral. Just like specifically Wuthering Heights is just like unhinged, crazy, romantic, and obsessive and disgusting. It's very gross at many times,
Mhm.
but very like haunted too. It's super, super haunting as a narrative and as a novel. Like, and honestly, like the narrative of the book is really strongly like eclipsed by the author herself. That's something I really feel like is so important when you talk about this book and when you talk about the Brontes is like they all exist in conversation with each other, and exist in conversation too with like the societal conventions that they were like living in Yorkshire in England in the 1840s. So it's like that's really an important part of that structure and that narrative too. So it's like if you want a book that's just like desolate and miserable that makes you feel like you're in 1840s England and the wind is whipping through your hair and like that feeling, and anyone who Rochester, if we live in Rochester, we know like that feeling when wind is like so like bone chilling that you're just like, I'm chilled to the bones. Like there's something kind of fun about that. A little bit Bronte about that. Like it let me romanticize March, which I mean, honestly, thank God. I don't think I'd get
Yeah.
through the month if I didn't have Bronte.
And when Rachel says that the sisters are in conversation with each other, that's so literal. All of their juvenilia, they wrote together.
And to clarify, like Emily Bronte is an author. She had 2 sisters. Actually, she had 5 siblings total. She had 2 older sisters that passed away when she was younger. And we'll talk about this on the first episode too. But she has other sisters, Anne Bronte and Charlotte Bronte, and they both wrote novels as well. They all published under male pseudonyms. So the most famous of the 2, obviously, in my opinion, are Charlotte and Emily. Charlotte Bronte wrote Jane Eyre. Emily Bronte wrote Wuthering Heights. Anne Bronte wrote The Tenant of Wildfield Hall, and both Charlotte and Anne wrote other novels. Wuthering Heights is Emily's only novel, and she died a year after it was published too. So it's kind of like there's a lot there, and just like so much of the book is eclipsed by the author herself. So it's like really kind of cool, like this mythic environment, and it's very, very like just desolate and grim and gross and miserable and muddy, which is Rochester in March.
Yeah.
So.
That's perfect for right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, Heathcliff's just banging his head against a tree at some point, right? That's
So baller.
Yeah. Who
That's
among
so
us?
Rochester.
I mean, he's
so Rochester.
just trying to
Yeah.
get some fish skeletons. I mean, that's part of the deal. I understand.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm
The
terrible.
worst. The dirt.
I think with picking books for this, I like the idea. I don't know if you agree with me, but like we'll pick maybe one for us, like the director does, right? Like one for us, one for them. Maybe so something popular, maybe something that's a film adaptation's out, whether it's Netflix in the theaters, whatever, and then maybe something that
like Rachel convinces us to read a book about sex glaciers.
sex glaciers, sexy lichen, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Gonna say I definitely want an oddball corner, like just with those little like 15-minute hits. I'm like, oh, this thing, I gotta talk about it. There's not an hour, but we got that. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
I
'cause
love a
that's just
micro
cool.
history. I
Oh,
will
Please, yes.
read a micro history, and then I will give you the Cliff's Notes of that micro history. So you want facts about salt? I got facts about salt. You want facts about cod or eels? I got those. Glaciers, love them. They're really sexy. I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you.
Eels, how do they reproduce? It's questionable. We don't
It
really
is.
understand it. It's great.
We have a lot of trouble tracking them down.
Yeah.
We know it's in the Sargasso Sea, but that's about it.
I can't wait for the cod episode.
That's going to be our biggest episode.
Yeah. I mean, the Portuguese are gonna be so into it.
International.
Yeah, see, that's what we do. So
Reaching across the ocean.
Yeah.
exactly.
We could go to Portugal.
We
Why not?
Work trip.
Work trip.
So we've been having a blast talking about all the different tastes, but libraries have also been a contentious spot over the last 10 years. It has to be a fascinating time where you're both exciting readers that want to use the library and being involved with all of the other stuff, and hopefully not too much, but it is part of the daily discourse. And how does that balance strike everybody nowadays as like, hey, we still want to delight readers and get them educated? How does that work for everybody right now?
I kind of think a lot about that idea of like libraries should be existing as third spaces for people. Like the old director of one of the libraries I used to work at, still work at actually, old director, she retired, but she used to say libraries are the living room of a community. And I think a public library really, really serves that kind of role where it's like a place for communal gathering and communal discourse, So that's really, really something I try to kind of emulate in any public library that I work in. And then in a school, I'm just like, it's an institution of just like a safe place for students to feel welcome and warm, and then also like to encourage like inquiry, and wonder. I think that's a really, really important thing, is like being okay with not knowing something. And the libraries are the space for that, to kind of figure out what you do and don't know and what you want to know. So,
And it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
so rare as the third space to be able to walk in somewhere. And I'll do this when if I have a day off and nothing to do, I'll like go pop into the Winton branch or wherever. And you walk in and no one bothers you. No one asks you a question. I mean, it's a hi, hello kind of thing, but you can just go sit and read or do whatever, play on your phone, whatever. It's fantastic. As librarians in the public library, oftentimes, we're in a rotation where you have to work on the weekend, and nobody wants to do that, right? But so sometimes you get to work, you're not in a good mood, but you walk in there and the place is full, especially on a weekend. And, you've got all ages, all sorts of people in there. And it feels like it really hits you. You're like, this is it's like a clubhouse, like the living room, like Rachel said, but it feels right. And that's when you yeah, I feel like, oh, I'm glad I'm in this line of work, that I'm
Mhm.
part of this and I'm facilitating this, and whatever it may be, whatever you're doing in the library, where you're purchasing books, you're running the community events, you're doing something special for the community, for the people who go and use the library. It's
Yeah.
a key piece of their life.
Yeah, this is you're making me think of something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. Which is, we sometimes get people who are like, well, I pay taxes, so like you work for me,
Right.
right? And that is intended to be like a power move, but when you think about it, we are and not to sound too highfalutin, but we are the intellectuals that have been hired by the government to serve the public. Like we are the most accessible means of getting information for folks who aren't in school, who don't necessarily have that outlet anywhere else. So really our job is to make information more accessible and to make
Like
learning more
democratizing it.
accessible. Yeah.
Yeah.
To like it's the great equalizer of like
Yeah.
everybody's going to the same place to get the same information or to learn more or to get resources. It doesn't matter who you are, you're welcome in the library. And sort of to go off the question that you asked of like comparing the last 10 years, like public conversation wise about libraries versus the actual work that we do. To me, I haven't changed the way that I work in a library because I think it's still important. And if people have a problem with it, they're going to register that problem. And I'm still going to keep doing the same thing, getting information for people. Because I think it's important. And there's a lot of people who still want that. And there are a very few vocal folks who don't want
Yeah.
that.
Robin and I think one of the things I'm most proud of that we did at our library, we had a podcast there, Your Friendly Neighborhood Librarians, and we did an episode on genderqueer, right? Like a
Mhm.
book discussion. And it was great. And this was right now, it was probably maybe, there's peaks and valleys when, the contra book banning and things of that nature are in the news and the culture wars of the day. And this was probably like a high point, I think, where it was.
Yeah. And I think that year that book was getting a lot of
Yes.
flack.
Yes, exactly. And you can probably go find that on Spotify or wherever, that episode. But what we do is important. And like Robin said, we're the ones that were hired. We went to school for these kind of things to point people in the right direction. We're not going to, we don't want to like influence you one way or the other. But if you're interested in something, and it doesn't have to be a book,
Mhm.
whatever you're looking for on the computer, we're happy to point you in the right direction.
Mhm.
That's what we do, right? We just point you to. And
Yep. I
there's
do
a
not
sea
care
of
what you're
slop
looking
out there.
for.
I don't care.
I
I'm
do not care
yeah.
at all what you're
Yeah.
looking for.
We'll find you.
I won't remember.
Valid information. We'll try to get you where you need to go.
And to touch on the discourse aspect that you were asking about, I think so a couple of things that I have noticed over the past several years is there's a lot of chatter, and like one of Rachel and I's professors in library school, she did receive bomb threats, I believe it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, she received bomb threats about a book she did not actually have in her library. So like it can be very
course.
close. It can be very scary, but one of the like leading things that's hammered into you in library school is there should be things that offend everyone in every single library. It should not be a reflection of your own biases. It should not be a reflection of like whatever is dominant in the culture. It should be everything. Everyone should be able to find something that excites them, and everyone should be able to find something that offends them.
Yeah.
And that's a very important like guiding principle for purchasing within libraries.
Absolutely. Like I think a lot about like the concept of like curation with like materials. And it's like libraries are more objective. Like when you think about a museum and how it curates a collection that you as a museum goer, maybe unknowing of that subject walk through, like the museum curator has so much power over how you perceive the information that you're seeing, the physical objects or like what you're reading, like they're the ones who write those descriptions, right? They kind of really have a lot of power over how you perceive things. Whereas with libraries, like we present you with access and you kind of as, your own person, you determine like what you think. But the counterpoint of that too is kind of like that piece of like, we have a civic responsibility to ensure that we're not like promoting misinformation or disinformation, so it's like libraries are not really partisan and we're very like objective with materials that we put on the shelves, but we also hold like a very high standard for like ensuring that the information that we give you is accurate and true. So it's kind of like that cool little little thing you get to like walk through of like, you know, letting everyone have their own kind of view and perspective on things, while at the same time like maintaining a very high expectations regarding literacy.
And to tack
No,
tack on
please.
to that, one of the like talks I went to at NYLA, which is a New York State Library Association, and like the presentation I went to was about how you can organize your library so that people can find things more easily. And the presenter used a statement that I found very, very interesting and very like resonant, which is that libraries are warehouses. Like you're basically going to Home Depot. And that is why you can't find the book you're looking for, because all of the spines are out, not the covers. It can be very challenging to find what you're looking for, especially if the shelves are overstuffed and there's not like clear signage, because it is a warehouse. It is a warehouse for books. It is not meant to be it's not capable of being as easily navigable as a bookstore, because there are so many books that we keep, which is why we spend a couple of years in school learning how to organize and find things so that we can help people navigate a warehouse.
I mean, logistics, right? Like that's part of the thing. But what I was kind of hooked on was how all of you reflected on expertise, that, you know, you appreciate the people that wrote these books and their expertise, that you have both, you know, trained and spent the time to become, you know, experts in what you do. And that, I think that's it's the thing that affects me most right now, is, you know, that the downgrading of expertise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know Matt and I have had a lot of conversations about this, because I can't stop rambling about it, because it's the thing that hurts me the most in many ways, is like the people that have spent that time, like that respect. It's core to everything I do, is being around people that know more than me about something.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating in a culture where it seems like the value of that is being degraded over time. I don't want to get too deep into, you know, political stuff, but it feels like the value of expertise is steadily being eroded actively. And I think it's really encouraging and reflection and incredible that you are also dedicated to it and continue to it, and kind of are working against that flow of what the current culture is, because to Jim's point, it ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
It's certainly not going to be this forever, but it will only be that because of dedication from folks like you, where you're saying, yes, no, we're going to continue the path and make sure that we have this forever. We don't care what the content is, as long as it's good content, we will have it there for you, and we will help you do whatever you need to do with it. And I think that's so important that you are that dedicated to it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, it's only getting more challenging with like
It is. Yeah.
AI and such.
Yeah.
Like if folks you know, not everybody has cell phones in their pockets with access to the internet. People come to the library to use the public computers. And man, it is a sea of slop on
It
the web
sure
right
is.
now. An
Yeah.
absolute sea. It is not like it used to be.
Yeah.
And there are so many folks who, at some point in their life, probably had some media literacy training
Sure.
or just critical thinking training. And they have that skill, but they just aren't using it. Or they are so used to being able to trust things that they don't even think
Right.
that there's might be something out there that isn't trustworthy.
Yeah. I think it kind of like it really ties into like that concept of like the birth of the internet. And it's like that idea of like we're kind of in our own little echo chamber of like all of our opinions. And it's like when anyone can say anything, anyone can say anything. And it's like anyone can be an expert at anything. Like I could say I'm an expert on grass. Doesn't mean I am. But you know, how would you know that I'm lying?
Right.
You know,
Right.
those
Yeah.
kinds of things. So
I mean, when you just say blue fescue, I mean, how could you not think you're an expert?
that's so true, actually. Maybe I am. What is?
I really want to see an end cap that says a sea of slop.
Yes.
We could put that out.
Ooh, I was gonna say that feels like a gym move.
There's
for
more and
me.
more. We've been doing a lot of trainings recently about collection development and AI written books and how to avoid such things and what's good and what's not good. And like if there's an AI book about something very specific, I don't know, your gutters or something that did not exist before, like maybe we should add that to the collection because it's not that niche that has not been filled, right? But if authors are now cranking out books I mean, you could go on Amazon, you'll find a million of them up right now. There's just an infinite amount of AI written books, and
I was just about to ask because I know it was probably over the summer. My wife is on all sorts of lists for ARC. She gets advanced copies of stuff because, you know, voracious reader. And there was some sort of hype behind a romantasy book where nobody knew who the author
Right.
was, and it came out and everybody read it and went, I don't think this is any kind of real. And there was a huge backlash. So how do you avoid that? How do you identify it ahead of time and make sure that I assume you're not going to want to shelve that stuff.
correct. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's the research, right?
Mhm.
I buy now mysteries, thrillers, and horror, and the mystery thriller, especially, I think could be prone to a lot of AI stuff. And it's just research. You're looking up the authors. Does it have a website? Like you could go down the rabbit hole, and there's a lot of stuff, and it's just BS. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
at some point, I have to ask you guys for help. I am obsessed. There is a children's author that works for Disney, and her name is Calliope Glass.
Incredible name.
I am
Yeah,
tremendous.
seriously.
I am pretty sure it is just a group of people writing as Calliope Glass. There is
Mhm.
no
Mhm.
More than
yeah,
likely, yeah.
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 So like, yeah, we because we looked and she writes all the princess books, but she also
Yeah.
wrote all the Star Wars books
Right.
and
yeah.
all
Yes.
the
Yeah,
Pixar
no,
That's
that's kind of
definitely
like
I was
Aaron Hunter and
huh.
the Warrior Cat books.
Yep.
It's like
Right.
that's really
Or
like
Frida
4 or 5 different
McFadden,
people.
who had a book come out
Yeah.
this last week or the previous week, and then had another book come
Yeah.
out like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like there's no way it's a single person.
So,
writing.
James
Patterson.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say
Patterson,
James
yeah.
Patterson. Where does he still do the and or
Yes,
is he
he's got
just straight up?
he's got
Yeah.
one with
Okay.
Because the end
Viola
of the
Davis, right?
little,
that
little
just
Yeah.
came out.
small print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, another author in the Patterson League, David Baldacci, who puts out the same kind of thrillers at a
Mhm.
pretty prolific rate, not Patterson level, but he just had, I think it was on 60 Minutes, he had an interview about the whole AI author thing, and that's worth going and checking out, even if 60 Minutes is now compromised. But I digress.
I saw they're adding Rogan. That's great news.
Oh.
Yes, we'll
Oh,
never
great.
Wow.
He needs more of a platform, that's for sure.
That's,
Yeah.
He needs
I-
more legitimacy.
I do
Yeah.
think that. I think he's one of the more underserved media voices.
Yeah.
Just
I
so-
mean,
just
elevating
lacks
more
visibility.
voices.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
Joe Rogan in the world,
Yeah.
really.
No, bring more.
Definitely more.
Mhm.
Sorry, we were. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I recently in like Christmas time had a person come in person wanting to donate a book to the library that was clearly it was a self-published AI slop. Like and
Mhm.
it was about the Christmas elves. And it was because we had it in our hands, it was very easy to flip through and be like, yeah, that's AI. Like all of the images, you know, the snow was weird and furry and like it was about a different elf every page because it couldn't reproduce the same face
Yeah.
multiple times, and the writing was just like, I don't think this man did any part of his own self-published book. Like he auto-generated all of the art, he AI generated all of the text, and then he had it printed through Amazon. And then he came and he got really mean to us when we said, no, we don't want this in the collection.
I was
Yeah.
just going to ask how
Oh,
that
yeah.
conversation
Did
went.
Did he want you to
Um,
buy the book, or was he donating?
He was
it?
donating.
That's
it.
insane, though.
Well,
like,
that's
what-
nice, at least.
the point of writing a book is writing a book. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like.
No,
It
it
upsets
doesn't
me.
make any sense.
Well,
It-
and that sounds like 4 years ago AI to me. That doesn't sound like now AI. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah,
it's,
no, it
it's
was really-
so much smarter than it was just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. The text was harder to tell than the images. The images, like almost every single page you could find an AI tell, but the text was like, and maybe it's that I'm worse at figuring out AI text than images, but I was just like, there are a lot of really poorly written children's books. Like this could just be a bad writer.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's when we're talking about like real, what is value add, right? Like
Mhm.
when you're putting something in the collection, you're hoping that it's value added to the
Mhm.
community.
Mhm.
You know, maybe it benefits the author, but it's value add for the
Mhm.
community. That's the whole point. And the wide community, like you mentioned. But there's so many things in life right now that are non-value add, right? It's another like, oh, we're just doing arbitrage. We're doing this. Like a lot of the book generation AI stuff is just like arbitrage. We're just going to throw up as much as possible, and maybe this one will sell.
That's it.
Mhm.
Throwing
And
up
you make
shit against the
$100
wall.
bucks.
Yeah,
It is.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that's the whole point. When you mentioned the term curation, that means something. That means something to me. It means something to people that care about the art forms and all the different things that you have access to. And that's I think that's the thing. That is curation, right? Like saying, hey, this isn't good for the community.
Mhm.
Like this whole thing doesn't work for what we're doing.
It's not unlike, I think, what's happening with the national parks now, where they're getting rid of like interpretive signs because it was an ugly scene in history or something, or
Mhm.
it has to do with the environment, or like,
Yeah.
which is insane. But it's like, no, I want to know. I want to know. We're humans. Like, that's the point of the experience, the whole thing here, right? Like gaining knowledge through the years to become wise and understand and avoid repeating mistakes of the past.
I do have to say,
Yeah, so-
I have been loving the national parks TikTok accounts. Some of them
They're
are
all
just
fantastic.
doing thirst traps, which are like absolutely wild and completely unhinged, and I've just absolutely loved them. I think Yellowstone like had a creator just like, oh, not sure how I fit in these pants, just take it and just like just use that as like advertisement. Obviously, like not like angrily or
Yeah.
anything. It was
Yeah.
tremendous. And I'm like, this is the way you take modern weirdness
Mhm.
and still show the beauty of a national park and do the other things. And it seems like that's kind of where all in different ways where you're all landing is like,
man.
Mhm.
let's be weird
Oh,
and let's get people into reading. How
Yeah.
fun is
That's-
that?
Right.
that's what we excel at more than anything, being weird.
Yes.
You go into a library, everyone colleague you meet, weird in a good way, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
like everyone is very unique, and it's just a great place to work. And I came into libraries from a first career, kind of stumbled into them, never had any idea that I wanted to be a librarian until I worked in one. And you find your people in there because it's a lot of, in general, good people who want what's best for the community. And being surrounded by that, despite the low pay and all that nonsense, and sometimes the poor treatment from the public at large, but that's a public facing job that you're going to get that. There is that kind of rewarding aspect at the end of the day, and I embrace the weird, and that's what we do. Like if it's weird, go for it. You're going to find your people, and they're going to find you. So.
Jim used to do a lot of the social media for his former library, and he would just come to me and be like, "Hey, I have an idea. Are you willing to look stupid on camera?" And I'm like, "Yeah, obviously."
Yeah, literally, of course.
You didn't
willing
even
to be
have to
dumb.
ask. Just give me a call time. Like I'm there.
She came with outfits, and it was fantastic. Working with Rachel B down there, it's a dream. It's like, I have this idea. Yes, like,
How can I help?
I get to dress as a cowboy
Yeah.
and wear a mask. I'm in.
Yeah. It's just like embracing your inner silly and just like whimsy, you know. I
Mhm.
think there's nothing more joyful than when I get to do story time in front of like a sea of children. There's like 100 of them, and I'm doing Elephant and Piggy. And I get really into I really like slop. And I'm Elephant. And I'm like literally like gagging, like I'll throw myself to the ground. Like I've skinned my knee before doing this. I take
She has.
I take my art seriously. But it's like just kind of like my inner theater kid, just like living my best life, just like being as silly and weird as possible. Because it's like, I don't know, I had a big shift where I was like, who cares? I mean, who cares what people think? But it's like, I work with 12-year-olds. So it's like, well, if you care what a 12-year-old thinks about you,
That's embarrassing for you.
what does
Yeah.
that say about you?
That is so
And if a
embarrassing for
12-year-old
you.
thinks that you're cool, like, is that good?
No.
I don't know if that's a good thing. You know, unfortunately, they all are obsessed with me where I work. It's so much fun. But it's just like, willing to be kooky and silly and just like, don't care. I don't care.
One of my storytime regulars, her son loves I really like slop. That is his favorite Elephant
It's
and
such a good
Piggy.
one.
It's
But
the good slop too, but just to clarify, not the
Yes.
AI
This
slop.
is
Yeah,
pig
slop.
slop.
Yeah, this
Mo
is pig
Willems
slop. This is the
slop,
good
yeah.
slop.
It's desirable slop.
Desirable, yeah. She at one point was like, "I don't want to offend you, but you have a very animated reading style." And I was like, "No, I do that on purpose."
She was like, I don't know if you know this, but you are overacting.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a choice that I'm making to amuse 3 to 5 year olds.
Hey, librarian, you're a bit much. You might want to tone it down a
You're
little
at
bit.
here. I need you to bring it down to here.
And she did genuinely mean it as a compliment, but it was so funny to frame. Like, I don't want to offend you, but you're very animated. Yeah, I work.
You're
with
like,
kids.
that's actually a compliment. Thank you so much.
That's on purpose.
That is the
Yeah.
nicest
Thank
thing
you for
anyone could say.
noticing.
That's literally the best compliment I've ever
Yeah.
gotten.
No, Rachel, now I'm thinking about that one time. Rachel and I used to work at another public library together. And there was this thing you said to me one time. And you were like, well, Rachel, when you're in the building, everyone knows. And I was like, well, that would be true. I always like to say, like, I'm my worst self when I'm at my public library job. I'm just my most authentic self, which is definitely like the most annoying version of me.
One time you were leading a third grade tour, and I just heard screaming coming from the story time room where you were doing a story time. I was like, I don't even know what book she's reading, but I'm pretty sure it didn't have like a full from the chest scream. She just added that in there for some spice.
Sound effects.
But
It's
the library.
theatrical. They
Yeah.
love it.
You could be yourself. That's great.
There was
Yeah.
like little cheers afterwards, to be clear. Like
Yeah,
it
of
worked.
I mean, this whole thing is why I'm so excited to hear the actual episodes. So I think we're going to close out because this was great. I'm so delighted and excited to hear what's coming.
I am absolutely thrilled to be a part of your book club. I can't wait to be listening to it. I have to admit, I need to read the book before you guys do your first episode. So yeah, it's coming soon, right? Well,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know what we could do? I'm gonna break the fourth wall for a second.
Oh, please.
Why don't we do a little social media thing where you guys can explain the show, the book, and when it's coming, and we can throw that up on Instagram.
Perfect.
Does that work?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sure.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Sounds great. Well, thanks everybody for coming over. And if you're listening on the Reader's Advisory show, this is the intro episode, and then we'll have the first episode coming very soon. So thank you so much for listening. If people want to check out anybody of you on social media, do you have places where you'd want them to follow you? If not, that's okay.
You can follow me. I'm on Instagram. I think it's at Jimbuck21, I believe. Search that, you'll find me.
I'm a mystery. You'll never find me.
Perfect.
Ditto.
Yeah, I don't post anything
said-
worth seeing.
Don't follow me.
I don't even.
That's not your business.
It's just
No.
pictures of my cat. You don't.
Yeah.
She's a
Unless you
very
already
cute
love
cat.
me, you don't need that.
Yeah, but mine's stuff from like wrestling shows and curling.
Yeah, everyone follow Jim.
Yeah, Jim's got good social media.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Reader's Advisory, don't follow them.
Please.
This has been a presentation of the Lunchador Podcast Network.